Disney remakes everything from Aladdin to Lilo and Stitch. So why are they acting like Pocahontas never even existed? But back in 1995, at the peak of the Disney Renaissance, Pocahontas grossed over $346 million at the box office. It won Best Original Song at the Oscars for Color of the Wind. But here is the problem. Pocahontas isn't just historically inaccurate. It's a fantasy that whitewashes and romanticizes colonization. Now, here's what the Disney movie didn't tell you. Pocahontas was captured and held for ransom by the English colonists in 1613. And during her captivity, she was forced to convert to Christianity. She met King James, who presented her as proof that the indigenous people would be civilized.
Dang, she was all that?
Pocahontas and John Smith were never romantically involved. She was around like 10 or 12 years old when she met him.
That's crazy.
And she died at a young age at 21. So all the way around, Disney just made up this fantasy about, Pocahontas, being, in love with John Smith, which from the history is completely ridiculous.
Yeah, that's completely untrue.
Yeah, completely outrageous. And so it's not hard to see why Disney would, want to be quiet. Don't say anything. Shh, let's pretend this movie never happened.
John Smith basically rewrote her whole story.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's like John Smith himself was the one who spread this, this myth of him and Pocahontas being together, which is weird because he knew she was a kid when he met him. And look, he got a good deal out of it because he's portrayed as this hunk in the 1995 animated movie. They turned him into essentially Ken from Barbie, right?
Who's also played by Mel Gibson.
For goodness sake.
That's pretty crazy. It's like
that's casting for you right there.
Apparently, Mel Gibson did his own singing in this movie too. So it's like,
I can tell. I can tell Mel Gibson did his own singing.
Now, she actually was married to a man named John, but that was John Roth.
I was going to ask Caution, what does he think about all of this?
Oh, so Pocahontas dead?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pocahontas is dead.
This is crazy. Maybe that's why Disney did not want to make a Pocahontas.
No, the real reason they didn't want to make it is because obviously they glossed over a lot of horrible things that happened to Pocahontas, and as well as making up things, right? As we pointed out, she was never romantically involved with John Smith. That's just like a romance. It's weird, right? Because like she was literally a kid when she met him, and Disney had to have known. They knew that at the time when they were making this, to the point where they decided, we got to age her up. Rather than saying, you know what, maybe let's not do this, they said, no, we just got to age her up.
Yeah, Disney will get canceled if they try to remake this, basically, from what I see. But the thing that surprised me that Pocahontas come after the success of Beauty and the Beast, which did pretty well at the box office, and it was pretty successful. So I guess they decided to make another love story.
I'm still lost on the fact that King James was there.
Yeah, he was supposedly there. But no, it's kind of a story that I can see why they don't want to revisit. But I feel like they should have never basically made they should have basically made it a fairy tale instead of basically making it off a real character.
Like
real
not
person.
hearing the story, I don't think they should make one. Not hearing this story.
I mean, it's like when I think about the story of Pocahontas, really it is the story, as we pointed out, of colonization, right? Pocahontas basically had really no kind of will of her own in a way. She was forced into these situations repeatedly, and everything is stripped from her, right? Her religion is stripped from her. Her family is stripped from her. Her culture, her name. And yet that's
crazy.
Transformed into a story about her falling in love with some of the very people who committed that, who stripped those things away from her. So it's somewhat tragic, right?
That kind of messed my mind up because I loved that movie when I was young.
And the thing is, she was presented as this savage that was well trained and knew how to civilize with people. And
yeah, everybody presented her as basically like, see that she knows her place. You indigenous people, you gonna know your place too when we get done with you. But she knows her place.
Yeah, it's a sad story. Like,
yeah,
and I never knew that before I started doing research, and I'm like, well, yeah, that explains why Disney haven't touched this movie.
Well, it reminds me of Song of the South, another movie that Disney is pretending that they didn't make, and we all know they made it. But Disney, they don't put it on Disney Plus. That is nowhere to be seen. Disney is like, oh, Song of the South. I've never heard of that. Well, we heard of it. But this isn't. But I almost feel like, in a way, this is the modern version of Song of the South, because there's another movie that Disney is like, okay, yeah, this movie made a lot of money, was successful for us at the time, but we're gonna pretend it doesn't exist. And in fact, I think it was the New York Times that put out an article pointing out the fact that they are intentionally downplaying Pocahontas. This is a strategy. This is not an accident.
I was wondering, like, when they gonna come out with another Pocahontas movie? They coming out with these other remakes. When they gonna come out with, like, remake Pocahontas?
Caution, isn't it odd for a movie that has made much as Pocahontas to get passed up like this? That Lilo and Stitch gets a movie before Pocahontas. If you were a kid in the 90s and you grew up around that time, you would have said, no way would Lilo and Stitch be over Pocahontas. And yet, fast forward to today, here we are, right? They're ignoring it. They're pretending that they didn't make it.
Never happened.
Yeah, never happened.
That's crazy.
They're running away from this movie faster than Caution runs away from paying us.
Yeah, and that's a damn shame. That's a damn shame. But no, the whole thing is pretty crazy. The whole thing is pretty crazy. Like,
well, so I want to get you guys' opinion on a potential remake, right? What if they did remake it? Do you think that Disney could do a better job this time around, or do you think they should just leave it alone?
Well, now since I know the story, I don't think I would want to see one now, because I can just see all the lies now.
Yeah, I mean, that's
now since y'all talk about it, I'm going to look this story up. Like, when I get off here, I'm going to go look up what happened to Pocahontas.
You damn lie.
You ain't gonna look up nothing.
Yeah, I'm about to go look this up. Man, you better get up out of here. Get out of here with that nonsense. But anyways.
Oh man.
Cairo, what do you think about this remake situation?
Nah, I don't. Unless they gonna tell the true story, then don't tell it at all. If you ain't gonna tell the true story, don't tell it at all. And I can't. I actually hope somebody else pick it up and basically try to make it a side project, something without Disney. Disney actually giving them rights to it. If you don't want to take it, give somebody else the rights. Say, hey, y'all can do it.
Well, in my opinion, like I say, it would be almost impossible for them to pull off what they did. It was controversial even at the 90s when they made it at the time. So it's like they can't do it today. I don't think anybody would accept this kind of nonsensical romance story about John Smith and Pocahontas. Not today. But no, I don't think that they can do. I think the best thing they could do, to be honest, not really do a remake at all, but just maybe do an original story about maybe something inspired by Pocahontas, with fictional characters and fictional made up stories of something like that. At least you don't have the real person tied to it. Do something like that.
I do want to say this. The thing that disappointed me the most, and to me, this would take the cake for me, that the people that's watching this video haven't liked and subscribed yet. Like, what are y'all doing?
Yeah, I agree.
Subscribe to this video.
Not even Caution. He hasn't liked and subscribed either, and he's on the damn channel.
Hey,
that's crazy.
Right now, I'm sad right now so much because the story y'all just told him is sad, bro.
Yeah, I can literally see you in tears over there with counting your money.
But, we're going to throw this to the viewer. What do you guys think? Should Disney bring back Pocahontas with a fresh reboot or leave it buried forever? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Until then, I'm T-Rex.
Cairo.
And this is Caution.
Cheapskate. Peace.